What's up, guys? Hello, the sun is still shining. And today I want to talk about clinical psychology with you. I started a new module in my university and it's called clinical psychology. And the first lecture was very interesting and very important because it looked at clinical psychology from a bird's eye perspective. Clinical psychology mainly consists of diagnosis, like how to make the right diagnosis for the patients, then to find a therapy if a therapy is needed, and how to check, for example, if the therapy works, if there are results. But before we dive into all the little disorders, our professor made one thing very clear, and I very appreciated that she spent so much time on talking on this topic, because we need to be aware of the fact that all these diagnoses, they are constructed, they are man-made, they are created by humans. Nobody walked into forest and then they found a diagnosis of, I don't know, anorexia lying on the ground. Like, diagnoses are nothing that you find in nature or that somebody discovered. No, they are created. Like, we as humans, therapists, scientists, create diagnoses and then they define certain symptoms that if you have these symptoms, this diagnosis applies to you. This is very important if somebody is getting a diagnosis, because it can happen that if a patient gets a diagnosis, he defines himself only through this diagnosis. And this can be very dangerous because diagnoses are always something to question and something that can change. And patients should not 100% identify with their diagnosis, because it can define their life or can define them as a person and maybe lead even to, I don't know, more depressive symptoms. And also for this, it's very important to make the right diagnosis as a therapist and really to check precisely if this diagnosis is really right for this person. Yes, so diagnoses are a very dynamical construct. They can change. They change while the science is changing. When research finds out new findings, maybe they had new procedures that found out connections between diseases and symptoms, diagnosis can change. Maybe some symptoms are taken away from this diagnosis and added to another diagnosis, or maybe even a diagnosis is completely changed or abolished because research found out that this kind of disorder doesn't really exist and it's only a combination of other existing disorders. It's very important to understand that these diagnoses are created on the best knowledge that we have, but it's not something ultimate. It's not something like physics where you put a formula and this is how gravity works. I'm sure also there you can find exceptions and it's not like a law, but yes, there is some kind of law of physics, but in psychology and also in medicine, disorders are created by scientists. So yes, that's what we need to pay very much attention to. Also while using diagnosis, like saying, oh, this person has this diagnosis and this person has ADHD. It's a very hard label that we put on a person, and of course it's important for the therapy to get the right therapy, but yes, keep in mind that it's not something ultimate. I hope you understood what I'm talking about and why I think it's so important to be aware of how diagnoses are created and that we are the people who define who is sick. Like I said, nothing in nature defines that after this score in this test, like for example, we make a test on ADHD, right? We give a patient that maybe has ADHD, we give them a test and we define as humans, if this person has a score more than 80 out of 100, this person has ADHD. So we put this limit at 80, everything over 80 is ADHD. But it's completely, like, it completely depends on our will. Our will says from 80. Maybe there's somebody with 79, and this person then doesn't have ADHD. So you understand what I mean? It's completely dependent on our will. Because all the disorders, like most of them, they are on a continuum. For example, let's look at depression. We have a continuum, and on the two extremes there are some certain kind of symptoms. For example, on the one extreme of depression, there are symptoms like being tired, maybe even being sad or feeling nothing, or having no motivation to do anything. Like, let's say these symptoms are on one extreme of the continuum. And then there are certain kind of steps in between. Maybe on the other end, there's a person very happy and he can do his day-to-day jobs and he is not tired. So if you're on one end of the continuum, okay, it's clear that you may have a depression. But maybe there are people in the middle, or in 70%, or in 80%. Like, it's not categories, that's the point. It's not categories, non-depressive people and depressive people. It's a continuum, and you can be somewhere in the line in between. And we as humans, we put an artificial limit or border, that everything over this border, we count them as depressives. And this limit can change over the years or while research is developing. So be aware of that it's man-made and that it can change, and that we cannot take it for the truth or for absolute reality. It's a try to categorize people, yes, because this is how the medical system works. You need to define first what is sick and what is normal to then be able to give these people right therapy. So it has pros and cons like everything. Okay, I hope you understand what I mean, and see you in the next video. Text me in the comments what you think about it and where you see dangers of this kind of categorical system. See you, bye bye.